This conference will now be recorded.
Very good morning and good evening, one and all. Can you please confirm if you're able to hear me and able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thanks for the confirmation. Thanks for the confirmation. So first of
Yes,
all,
I can
thank
hear
you,
your
and
voice.
okay, you guys are able to hear me, right? Yes, thank you. Thanks for the confirmations. I really appreciate it. So thank you, one and all, for taking out time on a Sunday evening, a Saturday evening, or a Sunday morning, right, from your busy schedule to attend this session on DevOps with AWS with Career IT Technologies. Thanks for joining. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and get started. So before I go ahead and get started, so don't you think that it is very important to know about your trainer or faculty, whosoever is gonna give a demo session on AWS with DevOps or any other training that you're gonna opt, right? Why? Because we are now doing online trainings a lot, and earlier we used to do classrooms, but due to this pandemic and due to the technology evolution, so we are looking for flexibility at our convenience, correct? So we might be opting for remote trainings. So being a stranger, probably you might not be knowing about me, nor the same with me, right? So don't you think that it is very important for all of you to know about myself being a trainer as to what makes me eligible to go and teach you AWS DevOps, right? Thanks for the confirmations, right? So let me take this pride to introduce myself. So myself, Kranti, I'm one of the technical managers working in an MNC in Hyderabad. So I do carry 14 plus years of experience in the IT industry, out of which 5.5 years is dedicatedly into cloud computing, into AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP, Alibaba Cloud, plus DevOps. So by profession, I'm an IT employee, but my passion is towards training. So I've been into training since 7 years now. And I'm proud to say that I've trained almost 31,000 people so far, and the count is still going on. And the count is still going on. So I'm one of the lead corporate trainer. So whatever the company that I work, yes, I will be taking up a role of a lead trainer over there. Why? Because being an individual contributor or being a project manager, I do my day-to-day activities or jobs. But apart from that, I always wanted to wear a hat as a trainer. Why? Because my passion towards training is actually taking me to train a lot of people in the market, in the companies, and we train people and we deploy them into the respective projects that we have. So being a project manager, yes, one of my role is to take interviews day in and day out in multiple technologies. Probably I might be having requirements, or my company, other accounts or projects might be having requirements. So being a project manager, that is also one of the role. And I've taken multiple interviews so far in multiple technologies, right? So I know I was part of the hiring. I know I do market analysis. I know what is the demand for the technology in the market, how the resources are there, what can we expect from the demand from the market, right? So that's how I do a lot of research, and we hire people, right, from throughout the India, if I have to say, wherever that we find the skill set, right? And I did not set any boundaries to myself that I have to train people from Hyderabad. Why? Because being from Hyderabad, I don't set any limitations to myself. So I started my journey from training people from the local Telangana, Andhra, or I might have spread across my wings to train people from India, and even I spread my wings to train people from abroad as well. Right. So I've trained so many people so far, and they might have already settled in their respective positions, right? And you guys might have a question as to, hey Kranti, we have multiple training institutes in the market. Even there are multiple trainers who might be training online now. But what makes a career IT online trainings unique in the market, right? So we are, yes, we are unique in the market. Why? Because we train people from the scratch. So the biggest ability that I have is to train a people from a layman language. So if you take a fresher, or if you take a non-IT individual who is from a BPO, KPO background, or from marketing, sales, operations, HR, whatnot, mechanical, civil, they might not be knowing about IT companies and how they work, right? How we get projects from the customers, how we have to get go ahead and get started, I mean, establish the team, right? And how you run the business without any impact, right? They might not be knowing anything about a company and how projects works, right? And we have different set of people where people might be experienced already. People might be tenured in an IT company, but they might be already working on a different technology, right? And the reason for all of you to join this session, if you have to talk facts, the professionals who were already working in an IT company might not be satisfied with their current job, the current role, or they might not be satisfied with their current project manager or company, or they might be getting underpaid. So somewhere there is a dissatisfaction, right? And that dissatisfaction is leading to take a decision to learn a new technology which was booming in the market. So you might have started inquiring in the market or in your friend circle or in your professional circle, stating out what is the technology that is currently doing very well in the market, and you guys have come to know about AWS DevOps, right? And that might be the reason why you guys might have inquired and attending this demo session, isn't it? Just thanks for the confirmation, right? So your intent was very clear here. What is your intent? Your intent
Sir,
is to
hello.
learn.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, one small question, sir.
Yes.
Uh, to learn AWS, we need to work. Only working people can learn AWS. Is it
No,
so?
anybody can learn. So let's park the questions. Anyways, I'll answer everybody's question at the end of the session for sure. Let's wait for the end of the session. Okay. I'll be able to
Okay.
answer every question that you guys have.
Yeah, I
Thank
asked
you.
two more questions. I'll ask after the class.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So your intent was very clear that you might not be satisfied with your current job or your salary, or you might not be satisfied with your project manager, or a fresher wanted to get into a brand new technology which might be doing very good in the market where there's a lot of demand, right? So you might have researched a lot and got to know that AWS DevOps might be doing pretty much good. So let's learn the course in the specified period, probably 1 month, 1.5 months, whatever it is. And your job, your ultimate goal is to learn the course and crack an interview and to get a job as a AWS DevOps engineer, correct? So I'm here to fulfill your intent. I'm here from Career IT to make sure that I'm fulfilling your intent. So for that, I'll be working along with you all to make sure that I'll be going with the content, the theory, the day-to-day examples, the real-time examples as to how things happens. Everything we are going to discuss. And what makes us unique here? Let me tell you an example. So obviously, I'm going to present you the course content that we are going to deliver to you, right? So on the day one, let's say if in case you have enrolled to the course, we will be starting with the very scratch topic from the basics, right? So we'll go with the theory first. Then we will help connect with a day-to-day scenario as to how things happen, how we can correlate the topic from AWS DevOps with our day-to-day life. Then I'll bring in a customer or a client and what is the requirement from them to us, how they give us the requirements and how we have to implement a given service in their environment, and what is the value that will add to the customer if you go ahead and implement that particular service, right? So this is how we go ahead and get started, so that a fresher who doesn't know anything about IT or any technology can easily able to understand and correlate the tough stuff. Why? Because cloud computing terminologies and DevOps terminologies might be pretty much new for everybody who is attending the session. Why? Because you might be a fresher, you might be a non-technical individual, or you might be an experienced IT engineer professional from a different background altogether. So you're learning AWS DevOps and the terminologies might be pretty much new. So I'll be making you comfortable with the terminologies with the day-to-day examples so that you will be easily understand and learn. Why? Because there is no prerequisite to go ahead and learn AWS DevOps. I'm here to teach you from the scratch. So along with the theory, along with the practicals, along with the customer scenario from the real time, we will be covering interview questions on the same day. So why interview questions? Why? Because your ultimate goal is to crack an interview and to get a job. So if I'm not covering interview questions on daily basis, how you will be coming to know on the respective topic what kind of questions that the interviewer will ask? So we'll cover interview questions as well. Then simultaneously, we will give interview tips and tricks as to how smart you should be while attending the interview. So along with that, we'll at least conduct 3 mock interviews. Why mock interviews? Why? Because your ultimate goal is to crack an interview. So we'll do 3 mock interviews. One is in the second week of the course. Once we complete the basics, we will do a mock interview. Then at the middle of the session or the course, we'll do one more mock interview. And while we complete the course, at the end of the course, we will do the third mock interview. So my job in career IT is not just that I will be logging into the go-to meeting and I'll be delivering the session from the theory practical and don't say goodbye to you. My job here is something different. So I'll be monitoring each and every individual. Why? Because people from non-technical background, people from fresher, people from an experienced IT professional. So I need to monitor everybody to make sure that how you guys are progressing and upskilling yourself. So there is a saying, right? Zero to hero. So while you were learning, anybody cannot become a hero overnight in a technology or in a skill. It all depends on the time, effort, and dedication that you put. So don't set yourself a goal that after completing this course you will be becoming from zero to hero, but I'll be at least taking you all from a zero to intermediate level. So that is what my assurance is. But will you be able to go to that level so easily? No, until and unless you put your efforts, hard work, you don't, until unless you don't have a dedication and determination, you won't be able to go to that level. So it's a mutual effort. I'll be always putting my effort. I'll be always in going an extra mile in teaching a lot of things. In turn, I need to have a proactiveness approach from you. Everybody has to start speaking it up. Everybody has to ask a lot of questions. So don't be shy. Every time you guys need to be proactive to make sure that we are learning mutually here. Right? Once the mock interview is done, at the end of the course, yes, we will help you in preparing the resume as per the individual case to case basis. Then I'll be providing you career guidance on AWS. So if you are trying to move to cloud and wanted to make your career in cloud, you should not have to worry about your career in the next 10 to 15 years. Why? Because every customer is moving to cloud. Lot of opportunities that we have in cloud. So apart from that, what is that exceptional thing that we have added in the course content is corporate etiquettes. You can ask me a question as to Kranti, we are learning AWS DevOps and why corporate etiquettes in this course? Why? Because a fresher, a non-technical individual doesn't know anything about an IT company, how it works. So my job here is to let everybody know how an IT company operates, who is a customer, who is a client, how we get projects, how we hire people, right? How we set up the team, how we norm and form the team, how we deliver it on daily basis without having any impact. What are our SLAs? What are our OLAs? Who is a project manager? Who is a cloud DevOps engineer, right? We'll be discussing about each and every role. So once you crack an interview and once you get a job and join as a DevOps engineer, you should not have to worry about your role. It's all about sustainability, right? Anybody can get a job probably due to luck or due to a lot of reasons. But sustainability is very much important. Once you get a job, how you sustain on daily basis is important. So I'm here to teach you from the corporate equities perspective to make sure that how you can be smart, how you can say no to certain things to your manager. Saying no is a skill. You cannot straight away say no to your project manager in all of the things. So that skill I'll be able to teach you guys. So apart from that, as I said, I'm multi-cloud certified. So I'm into AWS, Microsoft Azure, GCP, Alibaba Cloud, and DevOps. So I'm very good at SQL Server and database and Power BI, scripting, PowerShell, and Linux. Then being a project manager, I'm very good at ITIL and I'm certified in ITIL service operations and transition. Then being a project manager, my day-to-day roles and responsibilities would be people, project management, stakeholder management, client management, and I'm very good at onboarding new projects. So I worked as a transition manager earlier, so I'm very good at cracking deals with the customers and to get the projects into the company to get them started and running without any impact. And I'm very good at offboarding projects which are in the verge of completion. So the certifications that you can do on the screen, whatever that I've completed, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer since 2 years, since I deliver trainings on Azure as well. And I'm proud to say that I'm a certified trainer from Microsoft. So irrespective whether it is Microsoft AWS, but the kind of training that I go and deliver with the real-time scenarios with day-to-day examples, so that is definitely different from any other vendor in the market. So this is all about myself. So why this slide is, it's all to provide some trust and confidence to you all that okay, you guys are in the right place and taking a right decision in choosing AWS DevOps with career IT, right? So this is all about myself. So let me take you all to the demo session. So before I go ahead and get started with the DevOps, I think it is very much important for all of you to know about the history, right? As to why we have landed in DevOps and why we are learning DevOps on AWS in cloud. So everybody wanted to understand we cannot just learn DevOps directly, right? So let's say if you are using a smartphone, probably you would have known a history of a landline phone, probably a feature phone, then a basic smartphone. Then we are in 2022 and we are in an era of some high-end smartphones with a lot of configuration, a lot of features in the storage, screen, camera, battery backup, a lot of things, right? So in the same way, before we learn DevOps and what exactly is DevOps, what we do in DevOps, what are the tools that we use, we need to know the traditional way of developing a software. We need to know the traditional way of developing a software, right? So DevOps is a methodology, it's a process to develop a software and to deploy into the production environment, right? So let's have a casual interaction from a day-to-day life example, right? Before that, I just wanted to help you understand any product that you take in the world. You take a laptop, you take a mobile phone, right? You take executable software, let's say GoToMeeting software, let's say Zoom software, let's take MS Office package, right? Let's take Skype for business. Let's say Google Chrome browser. These are all what? These are all softwares, right? We also call them as products. So somebody might have developed them, right? And we are being used. Those are all what? Those are all open source software. So we can use without paying for them. But there are a lot of paid softwares as well. Agree? So let's understand the definition of software development lifecycle. So what is the process that we have to follow to develop a software and to deliver it into the production? So Flipkart.com, what is that? That's an e-commerce website. But for Flipkart, that's a product, right? Amazon.in, what is it? It's an e-commerce website. But for Amazon, it's a product for them, where it's a platform where they might be coordinating with multiple vendors in India, where the vendors can host their products in Amazon.in. And we from the customers or from public perspective, we can sign up to Amazon.in We can add the products to the cart and we can proceed to the payment gateway and we can order the products, and within the stipulated time the product would be delivered. So they have created a platform and we are just going and using it. So there is a lot of effort and struggle that has been going into to deliver a product. The output, probably the Chrome browser that we use, there is a lot of struggle that has been gone, and the end product is you're just installing and you're accessing Google or internet. But there is a lot of struggle and effort. There are a lot of developers that are working to improvise Chrome product as well, right? So for every product there is a process that everybody follows, and the outcome would be a product where it will be available to the general public, where we can go ahead and use it. So let's understand what is software development lifecycle. So it's a process that is being used by the software development companies to design, to develop and test high quality softwares. So there is a step-by-step procedure that we'll be looking into so that you could able to understand how a software will be developed and delivered into the public environment. So whenever you're working with a software, it has timelines which were set by the customer as to the software has to be delivered in the next 1 month with highest quality and security features without compromising on any quality. So for developing the software, we do have multiple models, multiple processes or methodologies, if I have to say. So couple of methodologies are Waterfall Model and Agile Model. And you have Spiral Model, we have V Model, lot of other models. So let's talk about Waterfall Model as part of our demo session today. So the name itself says waterfall. So let's say if I take a glass of water and I'm pouring down to the ground, will I be able to bring back the water into my glass? I'm not a magician. If I'm taking a glass of water and I'm pouring down to the ground, will I be able to bring up the water back to the glass? No, right? Or let's take a river as an example. So river will flow in a direction. When the water is flowing in the river towards a direction, will you be able to bring that water back? No, you cannot bring that water back. So waterfall model is also the same. Waterfall model has been used 2 decades back. Yes, it has been used 20 years back. It has not been used in the software industry now. Why? Because with the change in the technology, with a lot of new features, the technology evolution is happening. The software developers are not using waterfall model to develop a software now. Why? We will be looking into now. We have agile model now, which is being used by many customers, many software development companies, right? So let's discuss about waterfall model today. Let's discuss about waterfall model today. Guys, if you're not speaking, I request you to go on mute. I'm getting a lot of disturbance. Thank you. So let's take out the slides and let's get into an example for today. Let's get into an example for today. Let me open a paint. Software development lifecycle has multiple stages. So before I discuss about software development lifecycle, I wanted to talk about a day-to-day example so that you will be able to correlate the thing. Let's assume I wanted to prepare rice. Anybody wanted to have a talk with me now so that we can have a healthy and proactive discussion? Any volunteer wanted to have a talk with me?
Sure, I can.
Any? Yeah, may I know your name, please?
Solomon.
Hey, Solomon, I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Great. So let's discuss about a day-to-day example. Okay.
Okay.
Let's say I wanted to prepare a sandwich. I wanted to prepare a sandwich, right? So what is
Yep.
the process of preparing a sandwich, Solomon? Did you ever prepare a sandwich,
Yes, I have.
right? There are multiple ways where we can go ahead and prepare, agree?
Totally agree.
Right? Let's say I have taken a raw bread, let's say a wheat bread or a milk bread, whatever it is, but we basically tend to take a sandwich bread, agree?
Agree.
And we cut the corners to make sure that the sandwich is looking good and it appears the look and feel of the sandwich should be good, right? So what have
Yep.
we do? We take a sandwich bread, we cut the edges, and probably we'll apply the mayonnaise, or we will apply some lenticle leaves. We'll apply probably onion or tomato or olives,
Yep.
whatnot. I mean, whatever the preferred method, you will go ahead and put it on it, and you can eat it. Why? Because that's a raw sandwich that you wanted to go with.
Yes.
And let's say you wanted to prepare a grilled sandwich. There is a process that is different, right?
Exactly.
Probably what you do, the same process that you follow to prepare a raw sandwich, but this time what you do, you put the sandwich in a grill or in an oven, and you'll wait for some time, and the product would be absolutely fine, and you will have it. Correct? So
Correct.
everything, every product or every food item that you take, everything that we eat, there is a preparation method, right?
Right.
Let's say if I have to prepare rice, a plain rice, I have to eat it in my lunch or dinner. So what I do, I take 2 cups of raw rice. Let's say I am preparing for 2 people. So what I
Mhm.
do, I'll wash it properly for a couple of times, right?
Yes.
Then what I'll do, if I have time, I'll soak the rice for at least 15 to 20 minutes so that the rice would be cooked properly, right? So what I
Yes.
do, I'll clean the rice for a couple of times, and since it is 2 cups of water, probably I'll add 4 cups of water, double the quantity of the raw rice. That is what the requirement. So if you add just 3 cups of water, probably your rice will be undercooked, right?
Yep.
And it won't look good. So
At
there are
all.
two preparations again. One preparation is I can go ahead and use an electric rice cooker where I soak the rice and I'll put the bowl in the rice cooker and I'll switch on. So the my rice would be cooked absolutely perfect after 15 minutes. Agree?
Agree.
And I can have it. But there is another way of preparation through manual method. So the same 2 cups of rice, I cleaned, I soaked, but this time I'm adding at least 4.5 cups of water. Why? Because I wanted to prepare rice on a gas stove. So let's say I put the vessel on the gas stove, and Solomon, I put the flame in high flame. What happens if I put the flame in high
You're gonna
for
end up
some time?
banning it.
Yes, it will burn and it will overflow. Why? Because it is coming to the boil, and I mean it's a waste of time if I mean the product might not be coming perfect, right? It is burned and you cannot eat.
You
So
cannot
if you
eat.
are
Yes.
going with a manual method, what you have to do, you have to have patience. You have to monitor the rice carefully there. Let's say I'll be putting in high flame for 4 minutes, the initial 4 minutes. Then I'll sim down to a medium flame for at least 5 more minutes. Then I'll
Yep.
bring the flame to low flame for the next 5 more minutes. And I have to put a lid or a plate on top of it. Then the rice would be properly cooked. But
Exactly.
what is the difference here? Electric rice cooker is an automated way. Agree? So the
Agree.
preparation of rice using a gas stove is taking time. You need to put efforts, you need to be present there, you need to have a lot of patience. So the waterfall model that I wanted to comment is a manual model where monitoring is needed, where everything happens manually. A lot of dependency would be there. So DevOps is an automation. You have a lot of tools where you can go and do things automatically work for you, right? So
Right.
likewise, we have preparation methods for rice. In the same way, we have lot of methods, process, steps to prepare a software as well. So software, it may be a website like Amazon.com.
Okay.
It may be Walmart.com, or it may be your easybuy.com or ebay.com, whatever it is. Or it can be an executable software like Skype for Business, like MS Office, like Zoom software, like GoToMeeting software.
Mhm.
You you will be basically clicking on the .exe you're downloading from the internet, and you're double clicking to execute it and to install in your laptop. Agree?
Yes,
But if
agree.
with the DevOps, we will be preparing the .exe file. So the .exe file or .jar file, .war file, .msi file, what are they? They are the packages. So we will be using a lot of tools to make sure that we are preparing the packages, artifacts, and we will be basically releasing into the public domain where public like us can go and install those open source softwares, or there are certain software which are paid. Let's say if you wanted to install an antivirus of Semantic, yes, you can download from the open internet. Probably the free trial you can go and download it, but that will be valid for 30 days. But post 30 days, what happens? They will always recommend you to go ahead and upgrade to a paid version, right?
Yes,
But even though you go with a paid, you will be getting a subscription key or a license key, but you are still using the .exe file only to execute your software, correct?
correct.
So who will be preparing that .exe file?
Okay.
Obviously, there are developers behind it. Developers using Java code, developers using .NET, C Sharp, ASP.NET, or Ruby, Python, Nails,
Uh,
Node.js, right? Lot
yeah,
of developers are working to create development files, and they're compiling it, and they're preparing a package which should be available to the general public in a production environment, so that we are going and deploying that and using for our day-to-day use. So what does your antivirus does? It will protect your laptop from threats, from any attacks, from any vulnerabilities. Agree, right? So a
agree.
product, a software is having some value adds. So what are the value adds for this antivirus? It is providing security. It is providing against the vulnerabilities. It will save you from attacks from the hackers. So in the
Yes,
same way, any software that you take, it has to undergo a process. So the industry as defined, the software industries have been defined a process, which is a step-by-step process. So what are those steps in software development lifecycle? You have planning. This is a very first stage. Then you have requirement gatherings or analysis, second stage. Then you have design phase. The fourth stage is development. Fifth stage is testing. Sixth is deployment, and the seventh is maintenance. Now let's discuss about a real-time scenario. Real-time scenario. Okay. Let's take, we have a customer like Flipkart.com. I mean, this is an e-commerce giant in India, if I have to say. Or let's take Amazon.com, which is a global, I mean, which is based out of US, but everybody knows about Amazon.com or Amazon.in. What are they? They are e-commerce websites. Agree?
agree.
Right? So let's discuss from a day-to-day example so that I'll be making your job so easy to understand what exactly happens in software development lifecycle. Right? So let's assume
Right.
Flipkart has started in the year of 2008 in India. 2008 in India. Obviously, how the companies will get started, and human being like us would be so clever, so smart, and have an idea, correct? Even Amazon.in, how it has come into picture. There is an individual like your I mean, I forgot the CEO name, and Jeff Bezos, right?
Bezos.
So let's say
Yes,
Jeff Bezos has an idea, and that idea has turned into Amazon.com, and they are into cloud services as well, right? Obviously, a human being is very smart, and they have ideas, and if they have money, they can invest and they can turn that idea into reality. So the idea has turned into reality, and what is the reality? It's Amazon.com. And now it has been spread across multiple countries. And if you take in India, we have Amazon.in, which is an e-commerce giant in India as well. It is ruling the business in India, right? But there is a
right.
lot of struggle to come up with that website. I agree. There are a lot of developers, a lot of testers have developed, tested, and released that product into market.
True.
So let's talk that example here so that you will be able to understand so clearly, right? Let's assume it may be Flipkart or Amazon. Let's assume Flipkart has started in India in 2008. Again, there is an individual who has an idea, but he don't have money. So he has gone to an investor, and some investor has invested in the idea, and the Flipkart has given the business to a company, any software development company you take. It may be TCS, Accenture, Infosys, Cognizant, Capgemini, any software technology company that you take it. So let's assume here Flipkart has been given the business to a software development company called TCS. So well and good, TCS grab the business now. What next for TCS? The TCS now has to plan the things, agree?
Agree.
They have to plan the things. How they will plan? They will collaborate with Flipkart, right? They will plan the things. What will happen in planning? In planning, in planning, we will have to plan the headcount, the resources that are needed to develop Flipkart.com. Billing for the resources. Obviously, customer has to pay for these 23 resources plus any additional buffer.
Mhm.
Then TCS has to think about the licenses or infrastructure setup. Do you think you will be able to develop a product without laptop, desktop, or assets or software that are needed like Visual Studio? No. So who will have to burn about licenses? Yes, Flipkart has to give the cost of the licenses for TCS. And we have
Exactly.
to talk about the transport. Why transport? Obviously, TCS has employees.
Mhm.
TCS has got 23 billable heads from Flipkart. So the 23 employees have to travel from their home, from their residence to office, and they have to log out and they have to go from the office to home, right? So they have to talk about the transport, the logistics. They have to talk about the food. Why? Because they work in company and Flipkart or the clients must be paying for the food as well. So logistics, infrastructure, probably a payment gateway. Why? Because this is an e-commerce website. So we have
Yes.
to purchase a payment gateway as well. So a lot of things that will be happening in planning section. Then once the planning is done, TCS being a software development company has to collaborate with Flipkart and to gather the requirements. What are the requirements? Let me open the Flipkart. This is a website, right, which is up and running. So let's assume this website was not exist in 2008, and in 2008 Flipkart has given the business to TCS, right? So
Right.
it's TCS job to gather the requirement as to, hey guys, where did the Flipkart logo should come? It is in the banner. Then you should get a search box here. Then your login credentials or sign up. Then cart. Then the modules. Everything should be shoot up here. Categories, modules, whatever it is, and the ongoing offers that are actually happening in India from Flipkart, they have to show up here. Then some shop for student essentials, top selections, some things along with the Flipkart related information here about Flipkart, contact us about at careers at Flipkart, any customer care related, payment gateway related, Flipkart address. So this is how TCS has to gather the requirements in the requirements gathering stage. So once the requirements have been gathered by TCS from Flipkart, this stage would be freezed. This stage would be freezed. We are talking about waterfall model. So in waterfall model, the once the requirement gathering is done, we will freeze the requirement gatherings. Why? We will discuss. Then the
Yes.
design phase will happen. The design people will pitch in and they will design the website, how it should look like, the look and feel of the website. They will decide as to which one should be populated at where, in which area is it should be shown up horizontally, vertically, what are the features that you wanted to show up. Everything will be discussed in the design phase. Once the design is done, the developers will pitch in and they start developing the product. They might use .NET, Java, whatever the programming language. Once the development is done, the testing people will test the product. They will test the product. So I'll have a bug here. I'll have a bug which I wanted to show it to you all so that you'll understand from the software terminology. So can all of you view this video and tell me what is happening? May I know what is happening in this video? Solomon.
It looks like the image is not leading to the correct page, or the page is not accessible.
Absolutely. Which is a bug. Agree?
I agree.
So this is how the testing engineers will find the bugs and they will report it to the development team again. And the development team has to work in fixing the bug back, right? Then your deployment will team come once the testing team will certify that the product, the expectations from the customer have met, and the development release and deployment team will come and they will release the product into the production. So we from public, whenever you access flipkart.com, yes, we will be able to access it from the public domain and we can sign in. I've already signed in and I can access anything and I can add to the cart. Let's say I wanted to purchase something, I'll be adding to the cart and I can proceed to the payment gateway. I can proceed to the payment gateway. So this is how the product, the output would be coming. So once we deploy into the production, you have a maintenance and monitoring team which will manage the server hardware configuration, any outages, and they will go ahead and fix it. So these are all the stages that we would be having in developing a software. Now let's talk about something. Now what are the days or the timeline that customer has decided? They told us that in 60 days the product should be delivered by TCS. Okay. Now
Okay.
let's talk about the share here. So we have 23 billable headcounts, right? So these billable heads will be spreading across different stages here. So for planning, we have 3 individuals. For requirement gatherings, we have 3 individuals. For design phase, we have 5. For development, you have 6 developers. You have 3 testers. You have 2 from the release and deployment team, and you have 1 from the maintenance team. So the headcount will be spread across different stages here, right? And you have
Right.
how many? 60 days. 60 days
Yes.
would be spread across again. So planning team is taking 5 days to plan the things. Requirement gatherings is taking 5 days. Design team is taking 10 days. Why? Because it will take a lot of time to design the website. Once the design is done, your developers will pitch in and they will be taking 30 days. Why 30 days? Why? Because development is not so easy. It will consume a lot of time and
Right.
it will take 5 days for the testers to test it. And the deployment team is taking 5 days. I'm not considering maintenance. Why? Because this is post production. This is how your number of days, the deadlines are the milestone from the customer and the headcount is being spread across. Now let's talk about the disadvantages of waterfall model now. So in waterfall model, in the traditional way of developing the software, whenever being a software company, we gather the requirement from customer and we will freeze it. We will freeze the requirements. Let's assume development team took 30 days to develop the entire flipkart.com and the testing team has tested the requirement. Now customer is coming at this stage and stating that, hey TCS folks, can you please include the drop down here? You see some category or some catalog like top offers, right, in Flipkart. If you click on this top offers, what you're getting? You're getting from fashion some offers, some big streaks of the week, then top offers. Some modules you are getting it, right? So it is a
Yes.
mix. This is from ladies or women's. This is from men's t-shirts. This is from your accessories. This is also an accessory, right? This is a mix. Do you see all of the offers are from only one module like men or women or accessories? No, it includes everything and you can view all.
Yeah.
See, you can view all and they have categorized it now. Okay, you click on this so that you will be getting into men's t-shirts. So all offers related to men's t-shirts and you can see 75% off, 76% off, right? So now
Yes.
customer is coming back and telling that. So you can see in fashion, you have a drop down, right?
Mhm.
What is in fashion? You have a drop down for men, women, for men's footwear, women footwear, watches, lot of things in the drop down. So now customer is saying, hey Flipkart guys, well and good, I've given a requirement initially to prepare or to develop top of modules without any drop down. And well and good, you developed and you tested it as well, and the feature is absolutely working perfect. But what I needed now is I need a drop down here like this. So whenever I hit on drop down, it should populate that. Okay, for men's top wear 50% discount. For women, it is 70%. So for customers, whenever they click on top offers, this is how the drop down should come up. Do you think, Solomon, is it very easy now to change the requirement?
No, it wouldn't be easy.
Why? Because the testing phase is already done. It's about to release and deploy,
Yeah.
right? So what will
Yeah.
happen now if we accept from the company, TCS company, if we accept it, what happens? It will impact on the number of days to deliver, agree?
Agree.
Probably 60 days might become 80 days. Who knows about
True.
it,
Yeah.
right? And when days are increasing, who will take care of the billing headcount? Will customer bone for the additional headcount?
Wow.
Billing, who, I mean, license of the products, Visual Studio, your SQL databases, your Windows licenses, Windows Server license, who will have to take care for 20 additional days? Who will
For the
take care of
cost.
transport for 20 additional? Food, who will take care of it?
Yeah.
Right?
Agree.
Yeah.
It's the waterfall model. Why can't we let the change request? We can do the CR, right? We can deliver this product as usual in the past with the plan of 60 days, and we can take this as a new requirement, the change request, CR.
I'll talk about CR. Let me go with this.
We can
Probably
deliver,
you
right?
will understand. Yeah, yeah, I agree to that. I agree to that. But there are a lot of complications. Why? Because it is impacting other deliverables and timelines, right? So that is what I wanted to tell you.
Totally.
Okay. So there will be a lot of impact on billing, number of days, right? So when
Right.
the requirements were frozen in waterfall model, we cannot encourage the customer to come in at any point of time or any stage and to give us the new changes or any changes to the existing requirements. Okay. We can accept, but it will impact on other timelines. But this is a disadvantage that I wanted to point out. The other biggest disadvantage is in waterfall model, there is a dependency in each and every team. So the planning team, how many folks we have? Three folks. These guys might not be having experience in requirement gatherings. So planning team is taking 5 days to plan the things from the customer. Till then, your requirement gathering team should sit idle. Your design team, development team, testing, deployment, maintenance team should sit idle. They don't have any work until the planning team finishes off their job. So how many days the development team has to sit idle? 20 days. So 5 days here, that's taking 5 days for requirements, 10 days for design, and your development team has to sit idle for 30 days.
Yes.
So this is not a good approach, right?
Yes.
This is not a
It's
good
not.
approach. So that's the reason why waterfall model is not being used nowadays. And we have agile methodology that is being come into picture. We have agile methodology. And one more disadvantage in the traditional way of developing software is, see, being a developer is the developer's headache to prepare the infrastructure, or developer knows about infrastructure. Let's say, okay, Flipkart.com customer wanted to develop us. So developer's job is he might be expert in the programming language, probably .NET, Java, Python, Node.js, whatever it is. But developer doesn't know about server hardware configuration. Obviously, this Flipkart.com or Amazon.in was hosted somewhere. By the way, both of them are in cloud in AWS only. So in the backend, there was some server hardware configuration, right?
Yes.
So do developer worry about the server hardware configuration or the server operating system, whether it is Windows server, whether it is Linux server? Do the developer worry about it? No. Who has to set up the environment? It's the TCS internal IT engineering team has to help give the infrastructure to the developers to go ahead and start developing the product. The
True.
IT engineer has to configure a laptop or a desktop. They have to install Windows 10 operating system, and inside that, probably they need to have Visual Studio software or SQL
Right.
databases or any compiler tools or Git,
Yeah.
GitHub, lot of tools that are
Give,
needed. It's
give
not,
accesses.
yes, it's not the developer's headache to go ahead and take care of everything. So in traditional way of developing software, there will be a delay that will always happen. Why? Because developer has to depend on their internal IT team or the customer's IT team to set up the infrastructure as to where we have to go and host the website. Obviously, developing a software is not a never, I mean, it's not an end goal. You have to host it, right? You have to deploy somewhere. This plays a
Yeah.
very crucial role. So in order to deploy, you need to have a server hardware. It may be on on-premises environment or it may be in cloud. So developers probably are not capable enough to set up the environment. But few developers might have already knowledge on infrastructure as well. Why? Because they wanted to upskill themselves or they wanted to add one more skill to their hat. So developers in the traditional way of developing software, there will always be having a delay that will happen. Why? Because they're depending on the internal IT team. So with this, I wanted to conclude the waterfall model and I wanted to get into DevOps. Let's move on to the slides now. So we discussed about waterfall model, requirement gatherings, design, implementation, testing, deployment, maintenance. So we discussed about the disadvantages as well. So I don't wanted to go again, but I have listed it down. Now let's talk about agile model. So why every company need to be agile? It's not only the company or an organization or a software development company. It's we being a DevOps engineer or being a developer, being a tester, or being a technical support engineer or being an infrastructure engineer. Everybody should be agile now. We should adapt to any situation. We should be very flexible. We should be very robust. We should accept the changes from customers any point of time. So Solomon, do you
Yes.
think nowadays in the new era, in this current era, let's say if you're denying the customer requirement that no, we cannot accommodate your new changes now after developing the software and after testing it, do you think customer will agree?
No, the customer would not.
No. Why? Because if we from one of the software development company, if you're not agreeing, what customer will do? They will give the business to other company who are accepting the changes. Why?
Exactly.
Because now customers are so dynamic. Why? Because you have a lot of e-commerce websites in the market. So it's a tough competition. You have competitors in the market. So you cannot compare one e-commerce website with another. Why? Because look and feel would be different. The features would be different. The filtering options would be different. Lot of things. But if you are the owner of the e-commerce website, you should think differently as to how you should be unique in the market. So for that, he or she might be having a lot of ideas, or they might seek assistance from the software development companies to come up with a unique website. So it is always the website should be impressive and the look and feel should be very good, right? So if I'm a new to e-commerce, probably if I look at and compare certain websites, I would like. Why? Because there are certain websites which will give you a lot of discounts on credit cards or debit cards or any they might open up a sale like Great Indian Festival or Big Billion Days or end of the season sale, lot of things. So being a customer, it's my, I mean, I have a lot of choices in the market. I can go to many e-commerce websites, but what matters? Delivery time matters, and the customer service matter, or after sales matters. Agree? So a
Agree.
lot of competition in the market. So if you being a software company, you're not accepting new changes or existing future changes to the website, customer will go and give business to other company. So which means you're losing the business. So we are an era where we have to accept changes at any point of time. Though you are in the middle of the development life cycle or you have already developed off the code, being a software development company now using DevOps methodologies, you have to go ahead and do the changes as per the customer requirements. We should be very dynamic enough. That's where we are using agile models. So agile model is a crazy model nowadays in the market. So we should be agile. We should adapt to any change that customers are expecting now, right? So agile
Right.
model is an incremental model. So you can basically go with multiple iterations, multiple sprints at the same time. You can have multiple releases set up simultaneously. And agile models motto is to deliver the software with highest quality, security, and following a lot of best practices, compliance, and regulation related things. So it emphasizes on iterative, incremental, and evolutionary development. So the best example that I can quote is Flipkart or Amazon.com or any website that you take. Any website that you take. Now let's talk about the DevOps model. Now let's talk about the DevOps model. Okay, let me take the drawing. Let me take the drawing.
Sir, one query.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah,
Sir,
go ahead.
Agile model and DevOps model both are same, or Agile is different and DevOps is different, and we are implementing Agile in DevOps.
Yes, we are implementing Agile in DevOps.
So
I mean,
both are
it's
different.
almost this. I mean, it's the same. I can say almost the same. It's not. I cannot say 100% different. It would be almost the same. So let's discuss. You will be able
I
to.
think to answer the question, DevOps is not a model; it's a framework.
It's a methodology.
Yeah, it's a framework.
Yeah, it's a methodology. Okay. So let me take up a drawing here so that you will be able to understand it more clear. So let's assume we are following DevOps model. So what we discussed in Waterfall is a dependent model where every stage has to be dependent on the other stage, which means it is time consuming. People are not working simultaneously, right? So in DevOps model, what happens? Your planning happens, your requirement gathering happens, your design happens. Let's assume we have 3 developers in the project. Okay, let's assume we have got the business from Flipkart only. So the developer will work on this top offers first. Let's say you have 3 developers. D1 developer 1 will work on top offers. Then the groceries module will be taken up by developer 2. Okay, developer 3 will be taking mobiles modules. Okay, let's assume now the D1 development 1 has developed top offers module. What he will do? He will go ahead and pick up the fashion module. Okay, then you have testers, right? Let's assume you have 2 testers in the project. The tester 1 will pick up this task and they will start testing. Okay, by the time the developer 2 has done his work and he picked up electronics module D2, the T2 will pick up here. The tester 2 will be doing testing on groceries. By the time the tester 1 has finished off top offers, let's assume, then your release and deployment will team come and they will deploy this top offers module into the production. By the time your D3 might have developed mobiles and is pitching to home modules, your developer 3. Okay, by the time the tester has finished this off and he will be moving to mobiles module testing, then your T2 has done with testing, he will be moving to T2 here. So your release and deployment team by this time deployed this top offers in the production environment. They will be taking up this groceries module and they will be deploying in production. Okay, by the time your D1 again done with fashion module, he will be picking up appliances. Now what is happening here? everybody is simultaneously working. Agree? So there is no dependency here,
Yes.
right? Once the release and deployment team deployed the stop offers in production, your maintenance and monitoring team will come here. Maintenance and monitoring team will come and they will monitor the stop offers modules which was there in the production environment. Probably they will take feedback from the customers. What feedback? I just showed you a demo, right? As to how the bug was caught up. I clicked on
Yes.
top offers. I clicked on one of the table which I wanted to purchase for my kid, and I was not able to get in there. It is saying something wrong, which is a bug. Let's assume being a customer, I mean, it is my right also to raise a bug with Flipkart. Agree,
Agree.
right? So otherwise, it's Flipkart individuals who might do the testing, and who might raise a bug with the development team, and that is also being fixed. That is also being fixed. So here in DevOps model, every team will work simultaneously. So nobody will sit idle. Nobody will sit idle in DevOps. So what happens when everybody is working simultaneously and parallelly? Probably how many days that we have to deliver the project? 60 days, right? We have got into
Yeah.
an agreement and we have signed up a statement of work with the customer for 60 days. So if you implement the same project using DevOps methodology, Solomon, in how many days we should be able to finish up the project on
It
an
should be.
average?
Yeah, you should
40
do
days,
it
agree?
within 40 days. Yes, half of the
40
time. Yeah.
days, agree? So
Agree.
that's how using DevOps approach, we can automate things. We can automate the build activities. We can use the continuation integration and continuous delivery methodologies here. The processes we can implement and we can have the work simultaneously happen. So you will be having a scrum master who will be monitoring all the activities, who will be scheduling the calls and bringing all the people into the picture, and he will be monitoring the progress of the project, whether we are meeting the deadlines or whether there is any deviation, right? So
Right.
everybody is having a role. So your developer is doing the development, your tester is testing it, your release and deployment team might work with your infrastructure team to set up the infrastructure. Probably, do you want to deploy this on Dockers? Do you want to deploy this module on Kubernetes? Do you want to deploy this on EC2 machine? Or do you want to deploy this website on a web application? Right? So in DevOps, everything happens parallelly. So we are saving a lot of time. And let's assume now, Solomon, we have delivered this project into production, and now customer is coming and asking for, hey guys, I need a drop down in the top office. We can deliver, right?
Yes, you can definitely come back and deliver.
Right. So that's the
Yeah, hi.
difference that,
Hi, sorry to interrupt you.
yeah.
This is Lakshmi from Career IT, a small and important info from our end. The regular sessions will be starting from Tuesday EST, which falls on Monday evening for USA guys. And I will be sharing the other details as in mail along with the today's recording. And the timings would be from 6 to 7 a.m. IST. So please do check your mail for any other details, and also you can reach us on the number whatever I have provided in short. Thank you. Yeah, you can carry on.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Lakshmi. So this is the difference between your waterfall model and the DevOps model. Okay, let's move forward and learn the challenges. Challenges are the jobs and roles and responsibilities of the IT operations now, since we are learning the DevOps. So delay, which we have already learned, where was it happening? Basically, your gap between your development team and the IT operations in the traditional way of developing the software. But in DevOps, that's not happens. What is DevOps? It's a combination of development team plus IT operations. So they will be working collaboratively and coordinatingly. So we now discussed about the role of a developer so far. We have discussed about tester, deployment team, or the monitoring and maintenance team, right? Let's discuss about what is the role of an operation team in DevOps. What they do? They will help the developers or every team that is needed with the installation of server hardware and operating system. They'll configure the servers, network, storage related stuff. They will monitor the servers. They will respond to the outages. So these are some of the post production activities, right? They will look at IT security as well. There should not be any compromise from the security and quality perspective. Otherwise, customer won't be happy. You will discuss about change control. They will be responsible for backing up our data and looking after any disaster recovery sites. Let's assume, Solomon, we have Amazon.com website, which was, let's assume, deployed in cloud, which is in AWS. Let's assume Amazon website was deployed in one of the data center of AWS. And what happens if that data center goes down? Will you be able to access Amazon.com?
Oh, if you should be able to access it, but then there has to be a plan to bring the main system back up, right?
If the data center is down and your infrastructure, your Amazon.com was hosted in that particular data center, so you should not be able to access it. Why? Because the server was down in the data
Oh,
center. So,
okay.
but what happens if Amazon.com is going down for half an hour? What is for Amazon? It's a revenue loss. It's a
Look, yeah,
reputation
revenue
loss.
loss. Yeah.
Reputation loss. And customers like us, if I wanted to purchase something on Amazon.com, I'll move to another website, right? Another e-commerce site, and I can purchase there. So in cloud, it is very much important for us to come up with a disaster recovery site, DR site. So it's IT team responsibility to go ahead and do that. They will also do the production support job. So let's understand the importance of DevOps now. I believe by this time you might have understood what is the traditional way of developing a software and how we can go ahead and do this with DevOps. So DevOps, as we discussed, it's a methodology, okay, where it will bring in a lot of collaboration and coordination with the development team and IT operations at the ground level. So there should not be any dependency. People will work parallelly. People will always have to collaborate and coordinate and always have to work for a common goal. What is that common goal? The common goal is to take the requirements from the customer, develop it, test it, deploy into the production environment with highest quality and highest security. And with DevOps, we can do a lot of automations. So the preparation of rice, Solomon, that I've discussed, right? So we can do a
Yes.
lot of automation. So as I discussed, it will bring people, processes, and technology together, right? It will
Right.
always try and strive to provide value to the customer, and it speeds software delivery. So the 60 days might become 40 to 45 days if we are implementing DevOps approach. So if you take 100 customers in the market, 98 customers might be already using DevOps, or there are certain customers who are now going and implementing it. Why? Because every product that you develop, you have to develop by thinking from a futuristic perspective. You should always think from how we can go ahead and add additional features, how we can take feedback from the customer to improvise the project. A lot of things that have been dealt from the background, right?
Right.
So this is all about the demo session. So let me take you all through the course content that we have. Let me go through the course content. So before that, let me help walk you through the configuration tool. So this is your life cycle of DevOps. So how it happens, you will be planning the things, then you will be developing the respective code, then you're building using certain tools, then you're testing and releasing, and you're deploying it to the production, then you're monitoring, and operations team is coming into picture and they're monitoring. And why this arrow again is going like this in a loop? Why? Because DevOps is a never-ending process. It will always get in a loop. So we deploy the product into the production, and the maintenance and monitoring team will always gather the customer feedback. They will always work towards any hardware server maintenance. They will come up with probably any new features based on the customer request, and they will again plan the things. They will, I mean, developers will develop the code. Then, being from DevOps engineer, will build the things using Maven. Then the testers will test the things, and the release and deployment team using Jenkins They will be using the CI/CD pipelines to make sure that the release and deployment is happening. So this is a continuous process always. So we will take the feedback from customer or our client. I mean, it means end customer or our customer itself. We'll take the feedbacks and we will implement the changes. So this is always a never-ending process. It will always get in a loop. So we use different tools here to get the job done. To get the job done, we will be using different tools. So what are the tools that we are gonna cover? Let's look into the course content today. Let me share the course content. So the training would be lasting for 6 to 7 weeks, folks. The training will be going between 6 to 7 weeks. Okay. So we will be starting up with the very basics. Why? Because you cannot learn DevOps directly. We are learning DevOps on AWS cloud, right? So we have to go with the environment setup first, and we have to learn certain basic services from AWS, like what is EC2 instance, okay, what is your Azure Active Directory or IAM role stands for. So how you do certain Linux administration related activities, how you create users, how you create groups. We will discuss about the network management, disk management. Then we'll be moving to the version controlling tool called Git, right? So we'll be discussing about a lot of topics, how you install, how you manage Git, right? Then we'll be moving to the configuration of Git, how we will be basically adding the files and committing it and pushing it to the repository. So we'll be looking at all of them. Then we'll be looking at one of the concept called forking. So what is forking? What exactly we can do using forking? What are pull requests? How we can do it? Then we'll be getting into the CI/CD tool, right? The continuation integration continuous delivery tool, Jenkins. So this is the tool which is mostly used in the market now. And if you look at any job description on AWS DevOps, Jenkins is the thing that they will ask. And we'll be discussing and deep diving into Jenkins, and we'll be discussing in detail about the topics, the real-time situations, how we perform CI/CD, what are the different types of methods that we have. We'll be looking into everything. Then we'll moving into Dockers and Kubernetes. So Dockers and Kubernetes are playing a major role in the market now, right? And you yourself can build your career in Dockers and Kubernetes alone. That's how the market that we have. That's how the market that we have. So we'll be discussing about the theory, we'll be doing the practicals and real-time situations for Docker's Kubernetes. We'll be looking into as to how we can build the cluster, right? How we can go ahead and play around, create basically the images, and how we can basically deploy the containers in it, right? Then we'll be getting into the configuration tool called Ansible. So how we configure, how we install, how we set up the configuration files, right? We'll be looking into from the Ansible perspective. Then we'll be using certain monitoring tools to monitor our environment. So we'll be going with Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring purpose, right? So we will be looking at a lot of parameters as to how the hardware software configuration is consuming, right? Once we deploy the product, right? Then we'll look into the Terraform. So Terraform is one of the the most happening topic in the market now, and this is the most happening tool. So this is from the infrastructure as a code. So we'll be using code to deploy infrastructure. So we'll be looking as to how we can use this Terraform to make sure that we are deploying the infrastructure for our production activities. So with this, we'll be completing the course. This is the course content, and the good part is for every topic that we have listed, we will be talking from a theory perspective. I'll be bringing the day-to-day scenario. I'll be bringing a customer scenario from the project perspective, and we'll be basically playing a role play. If you guys enroll for the course, we'll be probably differentiating or separating or going with certain batches to make sure that you guys are, this batch is playing a customer role, this batch is playing a developer role, this batch is playing a tester role, and we'll be bringing a DevOps engineer and a Scrum Master to make sure that how happens it in real time. So this is how our approach would be from the training perspective. So meanwhile, we'll be discussing interview questions, tips and tricks, a lot of things that we are going to touch base on daily basis, right? So this is how the way that we will be going and completing the content. So any questions now? We are done with the demo, so I'm okay to go ahead and answer any questions that you guys might be having. So let me take up certain questions which I have already got from the chat window. So people are asking, what is the difference between DevOps with Azure and DevOps with AWS? So I can say it's the platform difference, right? Let's say from a day-to-day example, I'm probably using an Android phone of Samsung company. So Solomon, may I know what is the company phone that you might be using?
Apple, iPhone.
Apple, right? So
Yeah.
I cannot question Solomon that, hey Solomon, why can't you are using Android? Why? Because it's his choice, right? I cannot question him. So you can learn DevOps on any cloud service provider. So AWS is one which is doing pretty much good. So AWS is a pioneer in the market. AWS has
Hello.
set up its cloud infrastructure very first in the market. So Azure has come next. Yeah,
One small question, sir.
yeah.
Can we add, can we add certification also after the course is done?
Yes, you can go with the AWS DevOps related certification.
Okay, thank
This
you.
course is sufficient to go ahead and complete it.
So you guys
Let
will
me
help if it's
now
possible.
this
You
course
guys,
this course will help you to clear the certification for sure.
okay. Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Uh,
So
I
let
have one
me
question.
1 minute. Let me answer the previous question. So Azure is having its own infrastructure and it is having its own data centers, right? In the same way, AWS is also into cloud and it is having its own infrastructure and maintaining in their own data centers. So we can learn DevOps on both the platforms. Even you can learn DevOps on GCP, Cloud, Google Cloud Platform. That's not an issue. So it's all depends on our own choices whether I wanted to use an Android phone or whether I wanted to go with an Apple phone. But it's all about affordability. It's all about futures. Let's say I might look at screen size, I might look at full HD or HD screen, or I might look at the camera pixel size, or I might look at battery backup size, battery backup time. I can look at a lot of things. Probably I can look at the build quality, I can look at the weight of the mobile phone, and I can go with it. So you can learn DevOps on Azure, you can learn DevOps on AWS, but AWS is playing a major role in the market, right? So that's where people, I mean, it depends on their choices. Again, I don't want to underestimate AWS with DevOps as well. Why? Because I teach DevOps on Azure as well. So it's equal importance, but if you look from the market capture perspective, from the demand perspective, AWS is having a lot of demand. I believe that answered your question. So yes, AWS DevOps, your CI/CD will be covered using Jenkins, Aditya.
Thank
So
you.
we don't have any evening sessions at this moment, Ganapati. We will be letting you know if we come across any. I mean, we are definitely planning for evening sessions. We will definitely inform you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir,
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
sir,
Yes. Yes.
thank, thank you, sir. I'm from non-technical background, sir, and I was able to understand concepts, whatever you have told. Thank you for it, sir.
Great. Great. Any questions that you have?
Yes, I have a question. And also, a development engineer should have knowledge of coding, right? Like Bash scripting and Python scripting. I think this code doesn't include them.
No, we will be going with the Linux commands. We will be going with your Terraform. We'll be going with shell scripting. Probably I might not have gone in depth, but we'll be covering shell scripting as well as part of it. And we'll be having in
Um,
Jenkins, you will be using pipeline codes. Whatever that is required for us, we'll be definitely going with. So shell script is important, and your Linux commands. Why? Because DevOps without Linux is nothing, I can say. So we'll be deep diving into Linux commands and how you basically install certain tools or Docker, Kubernetes, or Tomcat server, or your Nginx, Jenkins. We'll be looking into it.
So what about Python?
No, Python is not covered as part of this course.
So I think it is helpful for DevOps engineer to learn Python.
It's optional, I can say. It all depends on what kind of job description that you have. So people are asking a lot of tools in the market now, but it is not important to go ahead and cover everything. I mean, whatever that is relevant and which is being mostly used, we have put it in our course.
Okay,
So,
thanks for that comment.
excuse
Yeah,
me, sir.
welcome.
Do you have a class for Python?
I think we do have separate a batch for Python. Why? Because Python is again an ocean. So yeah, we do have separate sessions actually with career IT.
Uh, Hi, this is MD. I got a couple of questions. Number one
Yes.
is I'm currently working in an environment where we have two separate, cloud environments. We have
Mm-hmm.
GCP and Azure. So in
Mm-hmm.
this course, are we gonna, I mean, are we gonna go through like, when an environment has two separate clouds, eh, how do they communicate? How is the GCP communicating with the Azure? I mean, are we gonna have any kind of hands-on on that? That's number.
No, this is especially for we are learning DevOps on AWS. We are not getting into any kind of integrations as such here. So yes, but I agree that in real time, customers might expect or they might be already having couple of environments. But it's all about see Azure DevOps. Let's say if I talk about one of the other cloud service provider in the market, Azure or GCP, they have their own tools. So Azure basically don't depend on any third party tool. If I have to say, they have their own DevOps tools. Even
Well,
for that matter.
I wasn't specific, speaking about specific to GCP and Azure.
Mhm,
I was trying to, my question was, I mean, we are learning AWS, that's fine. But in real world, like, in the environment that I'm seeing right now, if we have
mhm,
two separate different cloud environment where my
mhm,
environment consists of, and
mhm.
how do one cloud talks to the other cloud, are we gonna have any kind of demo on that in this session? I mean, if it
Probably we can have, but we might not be getting in depth. Why? Because every cloud is having its own tools, right? So probably you can implement your Azure related DevOps concepts using the tools that we are going to learn as well, like Jenkins, Maven, like Ansible, like your Docker, Kubernetes. Even certain tools will be used there as well. So probably I might plan a session to make sure that how it happens with other cloud as well. Like, I mean, apart from the daily routine, the course content that we have from the AWS.
Okay, and thank you. And the second question is, what are the certification that's needed out in,
So certifications are optional. Let's say being an interviewer, being a technical manager, how I look at the things is, let's say DevOps is nowadays it is booming in the market. But if you look at the market, on an average, probably we just have 1.5 year on an average experience in the market for DevOps engineer. So how we, I mean, let's assume if you go ahead and enroll for the course, let's say if we have 20 people for the batch, so we are giving training to them. The 20 people might include freshers, probably non-technical people like system administrators. BPO or KPO people also take up the course. Why? Because they might have fed up and they wanted to get into IT, right? And you have experienced IT professionals as well, probably from testing, probably from the code development platform, right? And they will learn DevOps. But do you think a fresher would be getting an experienced individual who is having 6 years of experience and working as a tester will be able to get a job on AWS as a fresher? No, it's all about projecting experience. So this course will definitely help projecting experience that out of 6 years you can establish or in project that you worked on 2 years. So that's how the market is. And when you talk about certifications, being an interviewer, what I will do is, I mean, there are certain customers who will make the certification and mandatory. So in those cases, we definitely have to go ahead and clear the certification for sure. But what if not? Let's assume we have 20 people who got trained, and after this training, obviously you go ahead and search for a job. You try to give interviews. You will look after multiple job descriptions for multiple companies, right? So not every company might ask you to do a certification, but being a technical interviewer, what I will focus on is, though you did the certification in Azure DevOps or though you did not, what matters for me is whether you are clearing me from the technical perspective or not. So certification is optional, but at times it value add. But if you look at the people in the market, and let's assume if you have 20 people, 10 people have completed the certification, 10 people did not. But out of those 10 people as well, only few people are genuinely completing the certifications. Other people might be taking help of a proxy and completing the certification just for the name of completion. So they might think that if I complete a certification, probably I'll get a job, but that's not the case. So do you think until unless you don't clear the technical round, will somebody will be selected to a company? No.
No, right.
So it is
No.
optional, if I have to say. It's optional. It's up to you whether you wanted to see how the certification will happen, how, what kind of questions that you will get, whether the course that you have learned will be actually value adding if you give the certification. Probably you can go ahead and gauge yourself, your skill set. But it is not mandatory, it's optional.
I appreciate that. Thanks for the honesty, though. I mean, I really appreciate that clear-cut answer. Thank you. No, I'm clear.
Welcome, welcome. See, I mean, we have to very open and transparent. That's where if you, I mean, if you might have been from the beginning of the session. So my intention here, what I know is everybody might undergo struggles, right? I mean, why you change a technology? Why? Because you might not be happy. We have to talk about facts. You might not be happy with your current project, company, project manager, or the salary that you might be getting. Or if you are from a non-technical background, you might not be seeing a faster growth. So you might inquire in the market and you got to know that AWS DevOps, if you go ahead and learn, probably you'll get higher salary. You can have a faster growth, right? That might be the reason why people will definitely attend. And there are certain people I don't wanted to deny. People wanted to upskill. Even those kind of people will also be there. But we have to talk facts here. So I'm here to fulfill your goal ultimately. So your goal is simple. You have to complete the course, you have to crack an interview, and you have to get a job. So I will be there at each and every part, and I'll be helping you guys support at each and every stage to make sure that you guys are upskilling, and I'll be providing you the feedback. Why? Because not everybody is having the same thought process and mindset. So few people might be quick learner, few people might take time. But my job here is to ask questions to provide improvement areas as to okay, this your communication is okay, but it should be confidence. You are trying to explain, but the articulation should be improved. Right? This is how you are answering the question. But if you have to answer to an interviewer, probably you have to come up with a different way of answering the things. So a lot of things that I'll be providing in the interview tips and tricks. Any other questions?
Sir, one more query.
Yeah.
Sir, you
Yeah.
had told like DevOps means like a combination of developer and operations, right? So as a DevOps engineer, where his role will be exactly in a DevOps life cycle?
So basically, DevOps engineer will more concentrate on your CI/CD pipelines. Okay.
Okay.
But being a DevOps engineer, we should have to put ourselves in the developer shoes at times, tester shoes at times. We'll be learning about what is the role of a cloud DevOps engineer or a project manager or a customer. Why? Because let's say if you're learning the course and you might get into DevOps engineer roles, but you think you will be retiring in DevOps engineer role? No, right? You'll definitely work for upskilling yourself. You definitely work to get promotion in the company as a lead, as a manager, or as a delivery manager, or a general manager, or a vice president. We don't retire in the same position. So it's all about we have to upskill ourselves. We should know the entire life cycle. We should be involved in each and every phase. That will value add to our profile.
Okay. And one more query, yeah, I don't know whether it will be relevant now or not. What is the difference between this GitHub Actions and Jenkins? Why most of the people are going for Jenkins and not with the GitHub Actions?
I mean, Jenkins is so robust. Okay. So probably once we learn, you will be able to come to know what are the features of it. So it will be able to automate a lot of things. So it will basically relieve the human effort over there. So a lot of automation that we can do so that the pipelines, the deployment things will actually happen without your intervention. So it's an automation tool basically, which will be used for your continuation integration and continuous delivery. And every customer is expecting the DevOps engineer to know about Jenkins now and to have hands-on experience.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sir,
Any other questions? Yeah.
sir, the
Yeah.
materials are showing in the class. Will you guys send me this also?
Yes, we will share the material. The recordings would be available. There is no need to bother about it. So if in case you miss a class, you'll still have the recording available so that you can go through and you can do an homework before you class come for that day.
Okay.
Hi sir, this is Ganapati. Sir, is that classes are online or classroom trainings also there?
As of now, we are doing online. Probably, I mean, due to this pandemic, we are yet to open the institute, so we are gonna conduct in classrooms as well in the future.
Okay, not now. Thank you.
Not now. Yeah, we are starting from July 1st actually, but we are yet to decide on the batches and the demo sessions for that.
Yes, sir. Gone through all the demo classes today. I'm quite good. And thing is, my background is network engineer. I'm working in a reputed company. So thing is here, I'm not having any background of software.
Yeah, I
Like,
understood your question. Yeah. No need to worry, man. I mean, if you're from networking, it's all about you should come up with positive attitude, positive. I mean, you should always have that self-learning capabilities, right? So you should self-motivate yourself. You should have a lot of confidence. So I'm here to teach you from the scratch. There is no need to worry. So you can just think of you're already an experienced network engineer. I'm
yes,
talking about freshers. Even freshers can go ahead and learn this. So you can just compare, right? So why
yes,
I'm telling even a fresher can go and draw? Why? Because there is no prerequisite that is needed. I'm here to teach you from the scratch whatever that is required. And I believe with the day-to-day examples that I've showed in the demo session today, you can assume how our real-time day-to-day basis trainings would be going with. That's how I connect with the day-to-day situation so that you can correlate the things.
okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any additional questions? So by the way, we are gonna start the new batch from this Tuesday, 28th. So the timings would be from 6 a.m. IST to 7 a.m. IST. So we'll be going with Monday to Friday. At times we might take on Saturdays as well. And these are online trainings. The recordings would be available, and I would be sharing the material as well. Any additional questions that you guys might be having?
Sir, one more question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
do we do coding in this? Any coding?
Yes, we do script. We need to know certain Linux commands, right? But there is
Ja-
no need to worry. I am here to teach you from the scratch.
Is it Java,
Just
sir?
that, no, we don't go with any programming language. Probably we will edit the existing code that we have. Why? Because we are not developers, we are DevOps engineers.
Okay,
But we will have to put our shoes in developers as well at times. Why? Because we need to know what are the challenges, what are the struggles they might undergo, and what are the tools that we have which are actually saving their job.
okay. Sir, my background is Java. Will it be helpful to move from Java to?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
hi.
Yeah.
I am non-technical background. Can I join this course?
Yes, absolutely. As I said, even a fresher who doesn't know anything about IT can go and take up this course. So, just that you should come with a lot of positivity and you should have self-confidence. I'm here. You can leave rest to me. I'm here to make sure that I'll be helping you to excel. No need to worry at all. I
Thank you, sir.
believe, I mean, since you're from non-technical, does this demo make made sense? Did you now come to know how the software development process happens and what are the
Ye-
disadvantages and why we have to learn DevOps and why customers are moving to DevOps?
Yes, sir. It was very clear. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Great.
sir. As you mentioned in the course content, here it is that Docker and Kubernetes also will be explained in the class.
Yes, Docker's Kubernetes will be going with.
Whatever course content is there, all we are going to see in the class.
Absolutely, man. Why there is a question? So if
No, no.
I'm not gonna cover, I don't show it.
And that's what, sir. As I mentioned before, I don't know what and all courses will come in DevOps. That is my question.
We
That is
will
the
be
reason.
sharing the course content. We'll be sharing the course content, and you can even get the course content from our careerit.co.in website as well. So there is no, we are not hiding anything. We are presenting something, and we are not going to skip something. Why? Because we are doing, and we have been into business since years now, and I mean I mean we get a lot of positive feedback, and I don't want to exaggerate about the things here, but you will be coming to know after the course completion for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Any final questions before we call it for the day?
Hey
Yeah.
Kranti, Reddy here.
Hey,
Reddy here.
hey, ready.
Ac- Actually, I'm an intern.
Hmm.
Can I get calls after completion of this course with intern experience?
Yes, you will be. See, I do a lot of market analysis being a project manager, and basically, we will be having also requirements, right, for our projects. So, freshers will be having a lot of jobs now, especially from the DevOps and that too from AWS, right? So, I can confidently go ahead and take up this course. Why? Because this is the most booming technology in the market. And if you go ahead and learn AWS DevOps, you should not have to go back, right? Why? Because there is a very good future for the next 10 to 15 years for sure. You can blindly
Yeah.
go with it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Kranti.
Welcome.
Sir,
Any final questions?
sir,
Yeah.
sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
um, sorry. Do we use commands from Linux to execute files?
Yes, we will be. So no need to bother. I'm here to tell you.
But we don't know anything about Linux.
That's not a problem. That's what I was quoting. I'm here to teach you from the scratch. I'll be
Okay.
providing material. I'll be providing a lot of PDFs or Word documents, right?
Okay.
So you
So
will be
this is a
using
covered.
those.
So this is
Pardon?
also covered. Linux is also covered in this course, sir.
Yes, yes. Linux. Without Linux, you cannot go with DevOps. That too Azure DevOps.
Okay.
Sorry, AWS DevOps.
And Kubernetes and Agile, just please basic. Tell me
Kubernetes,
basics.
yes, Kubernetes, Dockers, containers would be covered.
Okay, Agile, sir.
Pardon?
Agile.
Agile, yes, we will be implementing agile methodologies only, right? We'll be doing that.
But Agile is coding, sir. I think.
Agile is a methodology. You have to go ahead and implement it when you are actually developing a software. So there are certain
Okay.
best practices that were laid on agile methodology where we'll be using them. So as I
Okay.
said, for everything there is a preparation, right? Rice preparation that we discussed. We discussed about sandwich preparation. Everything has its own process, step by step. We'll be looking into it.
And
Yes,
last
Chandrika.
question.
So no need to worry if you are a 2018 pass out, you can get a job as fresher. But I mean, if I have to talk facts, yes, you might have to go. I mean, if you wanted to put an experience, you can go ahead and put experience, and you can search a job. That's not a problem.
Hello.
Sir,
Yeah.
hello.
Okay. Okay.
Shall I start?
Yeah,
Yes, you
sure.
Hello.
can.
Okay. Sir, I heard like you told like water model and agile model and DevOps, right? So you told like we are implementing agile model into DevOps, correct? But
Mhm.
I have heard like to overcome the agile model, we enter into DevOps methodology. So is it correct, or we are implementing DevOps into agile? So if anyone asks question like which model you're working, means what should I say?
See, we will be going in hand to hand. Okay, whenever it is required, we'll be going and using the methodology. Okay, so it's like, I mean, we'll mostly go with agile only, but DevOps is also a model, but we have a lot of tools which we will be using to automate, to make sure our job is happening so quickly. I mean, at times without human intervention as well.
Sir,
Okay.
Yeah.
so small question, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
How much time should we spend after the class? After the class is done?
So 1 hour would be the class on daily basis. So it's up to you. I mean, if a fresher is there, probably they definitely take a lot of time, right? Why? Because they have to do practice multiple times. So
Daily
if
basis, I was.
so, it's up to you. You can spend 2 hours, 3 hours. I mean, I'd be telling something. I might give you some homework, or I might be asking you to come up with something. So it's all about you have to explore yourself to learn.
Sir,
So it's an
if I'm a
ocean.
fresher, if I'm a fresher,
It's up to you. I mean, you if I mean, not to call like this, but if you're a fresher, I don't think that you might not be having any work, right? So you can spend at least 6 to 7 hours on daily basis.
okay,
You can explore a lot. Why? Because Azure DevOps is an ocean, so you can learn a lot of things if you keep on exploring. That's
okay,
how I'll also learn, right? Though I might be already an expert, but I have to upgrade myself on daily basis. So if I'm not keeping myself updated, probably I might not be able to serve my customers. So everybody has to upgrade on daily basis.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Any final questions before we conclude for the day?
Hi, Pratik here.
Hey,
So,
Pratik.
do you have scope in abroad? Because I'm planning to move to abroad.
See, I mean, yes, definitely we would be having, but I know whether you're already working and you met the criteria of getting a visa in your company, or you wanted to give it a trial on you from your personal perspective. I don't know, but yes, we do have a lot of opportunities in abroad as well.
I know.
But that's altogether a different procedure, right? So I don't want to comment on that. But yes, we do have a lot of options in abroad.
Okay, thank you. And actually, I have 6 years of experience total. So I have 5 years
Hmm.
experience in graphics and 1 year in PC engineering team.
Hmm. So you have
So
to
I have,
project experience at least 2 years.
okay,
Yeah. So this
thank
course, once we done this course, this will give you that advantage of putting 2 years of experience and projecting. We'll talk about resume preparation anyways.
you. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any final questions? I think we are running short of time. So any final questions, I'm able to take it up
Hi,
and
Kranti.
we can call it
This
out for
is
the day. Yeah. Hi.
hello. Yeah, this is Krishna.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Krishna.
Hi. So my question is, you said you're not covering any integrations, right, between cloud platforms, so like GCP,
Mm-hmm.
Azure. So what do you suggest if I'm applying to a company where they ask for GCP and Azure or GCP and AWS? So what do you suggest? Should I go ahead and sign up for GCP course as well?
See, I mean, on a very personal note, I mean, to talk facts, I mean, I'm a person, let's say, I can stick to one technology, right? But
Okay.
if I wanted to go ahead and explore where I have a lot of time to invest and learn another technology or another cloud platform, if I have time, probably I can go ahead and invest. But I mean, it all depends on the personal time that you have. But it is good to go with multi-cloud. That's not a problem. But again, I mean, if I don't wanted to dare, if I don't have time and I wanted to stick to only AWS cloud, you have multiple opportunities in the market. Okay, only, I mean, if I take 100 customers, probably 2 to 3 customers only ask for multi-cloud DevOps, not everybody. So it all depends what kind of job description that you wanted to go with.
Okay, because I'm calling from Canada, so
Yeah.
switching. I mean, I was in a BPO platform before, so I'm switching to DevOps, and I see a lot of jobs in AWS, but recently there is a trend change, and I see a lot in Azure. So
So what
I'm
I
just
suggest you is, so if you're a beginner, let's learn one cloud first. So if I have to tell about my story, I've learned Azure 6 years back.
okay.
And if you learn one cloud computing, it is super easy for you to learn other cloud computing technologies. That's where I learned AWS. That's where I
Okay.
learned GCP. That's where I learned Alibaba Cloud. Few people might not be knowing what exactly Alibaba Cloud is, but Alibaba Cloud is doing very good in Asia specific market, at least in China, if I have to say. So even I have did certifications, I got knowledge, and I'm doing implementation. Right? That's how I have come up. But my personal suggestion, being a fresher, you just go ahead and touch base on one cloud first. Let's experience what exactly happens. Simultaneously, once you get a job as AWS DevOps engineer, you invest time personally and learn GCP or Azure or Oracle Cloud or Alibaba Cloud, whatever it is.
Nice.
But if you wanted to give it a try at the very beginning, probably it might be tough and challenging. Why? Because you're a beginner, and probably if you're going with multi-cloud, there would be a lot of expectations from the companies as well. So I don't know whether you should be able to clear the interview or not.
All right, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Glenn.
Welcome. Any last questions? So the sessions are gonna start from this Tuesday, and the timings are from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST. We will be going with 1 hour daily, Monday to Friday. At times we might take Saturdays as well. I hope the session is very clear, and I hope you guys have liked it. Thank you very much for joining the day for AWS demo session.
Sir,
Have a great, yeah.
the next class is on Tuesday morning, sir.
Yes, Tuesday morning we are starting live classes. The day one we will be
Okay,
starting from Tuesday. Yeah.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you very much. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kranti.
Welcome.